Welcome and good afternoon across the globe. We are coming live from Washington, D.C. This is a Spotlight, and I am Echu Tabenya. With me today, we have Seseku, Dr. Christmas Ebeni here in the studio with us. Seseku, welcome.
Thank you.
And our permanent consultant, Mr. Kenneth Day. Kenneth, how are you?
I am good this day. Thank you.
And remotely, we have Hubert Kamwa. Hubert, welcome. Can you hear us, Hubert? While we're doing that, we also have Dr. Ako Asana. Dr. Asana, happy Thanksgiving and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Brado. It's a pleasure to be here.
And I think Dr. Ben Aki was supposed to be with us. He's having some technical difficulties. Today, we would be focusing on Tchiroma'S exile to Gambia. What are the implications? And what is the post-election situation in Cameroon as far as the government is concerned, and the situation with the opposition candidate, Issa Chiruma Bakari in Gambia. The Cameroon opposition candidate Issa Chiruma Bakari somehow, after a few weeks after the proclamation of the results, resurfaced in Gambia after initially, according to reports, hunkering down in his base in Garoua. He later on crossed over to Nigeria because of personal connections. But given the unpredictable nature of his being in Nigeria, he was moved by his handlers to Gambia. And the Gambian government only indicated his presence in the Gambian soil on the 23rd of November, even though he got there from reports on November 7, 2025. And I think they strictly underline the humanitarian nature of their receiving him and keeping him, and strictly indicated that their territory would not be used for any political activities. I think all this in an effort to not come across as interfering in the sovereign affairs of another African sister state. So today with me, the panelists will be looking at the implication of that move to Gambia. So I'm going to dive straight into it. Sese is a post-election debate fast becoming a sterile intellectual exercise. This is so because the people care about who is bordering or lording it over them in Yaoundé, and not some futile exercise about legality and legitimacy. And I raise that question because the argument that we see in most forums now is based or centered around the issue of legality and legitimacy. Chiruma's supporters claiming that he is the legitimate elected leader of Cameroon, but how many of our people in the villages and countryside really understand the nuances between legality and legitimacy, considering the fact that what they care most is who is at the Unity Palace in Etudi, not about the uh, intellectual or academic discourse about legality or legitimacy. So is it becoming fast, sterile academic exercise?
You may be right, but I would not want to dampen the aspirations and the hopes of many people, including my friend and son here, Kenande, who seem to be to have more information about what is going on the post-elections activities, either internationally or on the ground in Cameroon. But as an observer, I would say that our people in the village know that there was an election, know that there are cries of the victory being stolen, and they know that this is a place they've been before throughout their lives since Biya became president of that country. So what they feel and they know, not seeing any action, any significant action that anyone can trust on the ground, is that Selemem is just what they are used to, and they would just put all their trust and faith in whichever God they worship, and hope that something better might come out tomorrow. But as long as we are here and Biya is still known as the president of Cameroon, and things are going on, there's a parliament, they are defending the budget, they are discussing other things. Batanji is still moving freely, intimidating people, and people are being arrested, and others are being intimidated, people are being pushed into silence. It will result to the normalcy that Cameroon knows, which is total disorder and everything else. And then the people who would steal will continue to steal. The people who corrupt will continue to corrupt. And then the masses and the innocent people would keep suffering and dying and being arrested and being intimidated. So for now, let's just say that there is noise about something coming, but the actuality is that Biya is still in charge. He's still the president of that country.
Hubert, let me bring you in here. I think the question that I directed to Dr. Abini was, what is really the, as far as our people are concerned, uh, is the debate about legality and legitimacy really what our people need to be focusing on? Because I am under the assumption that the same people that we claim on the countryside that the only one a better state of affairs, a leader that can provide them the basic necessities of life, good infrastructure, education, healthcare, employment for their children, and a promising future for their own progenies. But if you look at most of the forums, the raging debate there is about Biya having legality and Chiruma claiming legitimacy. How does this impact our people in the countryside? Is it really a debate that takes into account what the next 7 years is going to mean for them? Can you unmute? All right. Dr. Ako, as he's getting himself ready, can you come in with your thoughts on that?
Thank you. Um, the idea of legality versus legitimacy, I think, is something that our people understand. I think we take away the sophistication of our people when we make these concepts sound like they exist only in big grammar or only amongst the educated elites. Our people have a sense of fairness. Legitimacy is all about fairness. Is something fair? Is this idea right and appropriate? And legality basically just deals with the law. So our people have existed in this gray area where we have seen stuff that's legal not being legitimate, and what's legitimate never accepted as being legal. A very good example is our people know that you cannot just pull someone over, whether they're driving or they're walking on foot, ask them to present their identification, and if they say, I don't have it, you extort 100, sorry, 1,000 francs or 5,000 or 10,000, or you take them to sit down, in a very muddy roadside or something because you want to extort money from them or get their family members to come and give you money. So the police officers may claim that it's legal. What they're doing is asking you to identify yourself and that it's legal, but we know it's not legitimate. We know that you can ask me for my identification. If I don't have it, you have to give me a due process to be able to get a family member to bring it, or give me some days to bring it, or write me a summons that by this date I should bring it up. So let's apply that to this issue of Chiroma versus Paul Biya. And let me say this first of all. I'm actually speaking here as a member of a neighboring country. I'm not a citizen of La République du Cameroon. So, as a member of a neighboring country, I'm sharing my opinion about something that's happening to a country that we love. We love to see the people of Cameroon get the leaders they've elected. Because when they do that, Africa in general benefits. So, in the case of Chiruma, the evidence seems to suggest that the man won. But we know that in La République du Cameroon, winning an election does not translate to rising up and assuming the leadership of the country. That has happened when we were part of Cameroon. That is the history they know. That's the experience they know. Whether you go as far back as UPC or you come back as recently as you, and then right now, CPDM. The party that stays in power does not necessarily derive its authority to stay in power because it won an election, but by virtue of the fact that it can control and exert power using the instruments of the state. So I feel bad for citizens of our neighboring country. I feel bad for them, just like I feel bad for the people of Nigeria. And it's our prayer that someday we, the common people, we understand the difference very well. But we're hoping that someday our people will come together to be able to fight because there's no other way you can take over power and cleanse your country and gain full authority. Our people would fight back and hopefully regain the control that should reside with the people.
Thank you. Kenneth, if I could bring you in, I know you've been very active within the ranks of the movement to dislodge the 43-year-old regime
Absolutely.
from the supreme magistracy in Cameroon. But since the proclamation of the results and Chiruma's subsequent escape to the Gambia, a lot of people have argued that there's been no credible plan in place. And if the plan seems to be the ghost towns, the day of mourning, the proclamation of himself as the president-elect, the is that the taking oath of office
His oath of office.
in Gambia, and maybe the appointments and subsequently forming a government. If you look back into countries that have gone through what Cameroon is going at this time, I'm going to bring you to Jean Ping in Gabon in 2016.
Okay.
Declared himself the president-elect, actually formed a shadow government and claimed legitimacy. I think the results are obvious today that Jean Ping is not the president of Gabon. And if you move to Togo, Jean-Pierre Fabreau in 2018, and the same situation, claimed that he was the president-elect, I think had a shadow government, claimed legitimacy, and until this day, he is not the president of Togo. If you move to the Democratic Republic of Congo, in 2018, Martin Fayulu also, even up to today, is still calling himself the president-elect. And the powerful church in DROC, because DROC has one of the most powerful church in the whole of Africa, with I think 6 million Christians in Kinshasa alone, in that archdiocese, yes. And I think the archbishop there was one of those among that people felt could be the next pope. They came out and said the result was heavily tainted with irregularities and corruption. Fayulu calls himself the president-elect of Democratic Republic of Congo, even up to this day. So it seems to me that Tchiroma is actually following that same playbook, and the results is obvious. Is it something? What is the strategy?
Okay. Well, thank you, Brado. First of all, I would like to use this opportunity to thank His Excellency Adama Barrow of the Gambia for hosting His Excellency President-elect Issa Tchiroma Bakari of Cameroon. In the case of Paul Biya, the ex-president of the Republic of Cameroon, we still have Paul Biya illegally occupying the palace at Etudi. His Excellency President-elect Issa Tchiroma Bakari, through his spokesperson, Madame Alice Kam, has laid out a program. And that program, God willing, before December 31, 2025 of this year, the illegal occupier of Etudi, Paul Biya, ex-president, shall be ejected from there. Brado, you talk about us not having a credible plan. You've laid out cases, you've talked about Gabon, you've talked about Togo, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Cameroon, as they say, Cameroon is Cameroon. And Cameroon, with all its peculiarities, we have Amazonians on this program who are watching very closely what is happening in La République. President-elect Issa Tchiroma, currently in the Gambia, will soon take his oath of office, just like Adama Barrow did in exile with the former guy doing everything to stop him. That never happened. Tomorrow, Sunday, through Tuesday, starts a 3-day civil disobedience program, Ghost Town. And the effect of this is to gradually weigh in on the government, dry up the government's finances so that we have a peaceful transition. In Tanzania recently, a lot of people have been killed, and we don't want to see that happen in Cameroon. We are going to paralyze the state of Cameroon.
Kenneth, let me interject. 1992, this whole strategy was put into its most effective form. That government is still standing. Because I want us to be practical when we are having this conversation, so that our people should have the belief that this change is actually going to happen. Because a lot of this vagueness in saying, oh, President-elect has decreed, has said all of this, there is normalcy returning on the ground. And I don't seem to understand when you say, because during the electoral process, all of these wild promises and projections were given. We were told that the Northerners will not sleep for one day if the election is stolen from them. We are getting to the second month. Very soon it would be the third month after the elections. And we're still having these wild promises about, okay, by the end of December, this is going to happen. What is the plan?
So this is the plan. To start with, we were not expecting people like Atanganji, Vondo Aliolo, and was Ferdinand Gongo to basically do a manhunt on President-elect Issa Chiroma Bakare. They did that, and all of a sudden, of course, he had to go into safety. And the loyal forces, we still have a lot of loyal forces within the ranks of the military, and a lot of loyal forces among the ministerial ranks, those currently who are supporting President-elect Issa Chiroma Bakare. We had to take time for him to get into safety. He started off in Nigeria, and today, thanks to His Excellency Adama Barrow for having us, our president over there.
Okay.
He's going to come back very soon.
Mr. Gwebini, let me bring you in, and I don't seem to see where Canada is going. Do you really think that Chiroma, being an insider in that regime, the spokesperson of that regime, the same things that he recommended to go after Kamto, would now turn around and claim that they didn't know that Atanganji or Ferdinand Gongo could go to this extent? I mean, have you not seen what they've done to the people of Southern Cameroon? It's just being naive, or it's just this political talk?
You know, I sit here as a very concerned citizen, and I feel very privileged sitting by my friend Kenande, Mr. Kenande, who projects as an insider with this thing. All of us are really wish, I sleep and dream and wish that the efforts would succeed. But when I hear some of the talks about not having knowledge, everybody who goes for elections in Cameroon with the same people who set the calendar for the election. Nobody in Cameroon knows when elections are going to take place. It is only in the head of Paul Biya. When I say head of Paul Biya, he is the head with all the machine that he has around him to determine when elections. They determine when elections are going to take place. They determine who qualifies to run against him. They determine how the ballot is organized. They determine how the results are proclaimed, and all of the what they call institutions for electoral process in that country are 100% not independent of the government and the ruling party. And we know these things when we go to these elections. It's not the first time.
Yes.
Can I talk about not knowing that there will be a manhunt for Issa Chiroma? Any person who has run for elections since the return of multi-party in Cameroon, who comes even close to rallying people to be behind him or her. We've not had a female who has made significant move. It's in danger. Why you go and you are really having that possibility of, even if it's a semblance of showing that you can beat Paul Biya at the polls in Cameroon, even if it is not declared that you won, that people can see that really you were capable of rallying people to go to the polls and vote for you, you're in trouble. And we've had so far, we've had 3 of them. From
Yes.
From 19.
Yeah.
From when did
92.
Let's say from 1992 with Frundi to Kamto, what year again?
2018.
2018 Kamto, and then now.
Yes.
For people to be this ignorant or dismissive of the realities on the ground as concerned electoral process in that